So then Punjanik Vidyanidhi just goes, whoa, and he kicks over something, and he just starts dancing like a wild man out of love.
Welcome to the Welsh Yogi Podcast. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namah.
Okay, back to Rupa.
Hare Krishna, Gopal.
Hare Krishna. So this is going to be episode of Welsh Yogi Podcast being released on Sunday, right?
Yeah, today is Sunday if you're listening.
Today is Sunday. We had a little special ceremony today with one of the boys going into the Bramachari ashram. So he's going from white cloth into saffron or orange cloth, starting the next stage of his life as a monk, and that's Joel. So we wish him all the best. If you like that, so he's a very, very sincere boy. He said he always wanted to be, live a serious spiritual life. Now he's just taking the steps like that.
Yeah, serious business, isn't it? The Bramachari ashram.
Yeah. Looking back, so you were in the Bramachari ashram for how long?
A
few years.
5 years if you include the CVA.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years then.
Yeah. How was your experience?
It was the best. It was so clear. It's so absorbed. The whole lifestyle in the ashram is just 100% focused on spiritual life. So it's really interesting. Like, it's really helpful to have that kind of foundation. And I found then leaving the ashram, starting to like rediscover who I am again. Because obviously if you're fully absorbed in the ashram, sometimes you're so busy that you're not even... Do you know what I mean? You're so absorbed in doing the service and focused on your reading and chanting and the program that you kind of lose yourself in the momentum. Speaking for myself, I kind of lost myself in it. So like now, having come out of the ashram, it's like I'm rediscovering myself. Like, but with the lens of Krishna consciousness, through the lens of Krishna consciousness and the philosophy that we have. And so like... we were just talking before the podcast about like Pokemon cards and video games and tattoos and like all these material desires. When you're not in the ashram, they're able to kind of flourish a little bit. And it's interesting to see them in the light of spiritual knowledge. Whereas if I hadn't had the ashram experience, then I don't think I'd have like seen these different aspects of myself as separate from myself, if that makes sense.
Say that again, sorry, because I was just looking up a reference that we could read out, but I want you to...
Yeah, no, I was just saying like, if you have no context of Krishna consciousness and you think that you are the body and you think that everything connected to your body and your mind and everything, that you think that that's you, then you just live life. But taking a step back, getting absorbed in philosophy and seeing that, no, I'm not the body. I'm not these thoughts and desires. I'm actually like a spirit soul that's eternally connected with Krishna. Then when you step back into the bodily concept again, you can see it more as with a separate vision. I don't know if you've been following me. You've been on your phone.
I was looking for...
I'm just going to call you out. Like.
No, I was looking for something to read in relation to exactly what you were saying.
Okay, you found it?
I found it, but I'm going to pause. I'm not going to read it just
okay,
yet.
You're saving it.
I'm not going to introduce this yet.
It's in the holster.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting because it's like self-realization is about figuring out who you are. And I think that starts off by figuring out who you are materially. Or in other words, who you are not. You know?
So you're saying in your time in the ashram...
Time in the ashram was real training. And
in the Bramachari ashram.
Yeah. It was like training and it was like deeply putting that philosophy in my mind. Like really reading a lot and practicing and studying and whatnot, so that the philosophy is just drilled into me. And then leaving the ashram, I'm seeing all of these parts of my kind of material identity flourish more because I've got time and space to do that, just to practice a bit of Maya. You know what I'm saying? But because I've got that philosophy, it's like, okay, this is actually, I'm not that. I'm not these different thoughts and desires and feelings. I'm kind of gradually giving them up. Like I'm figuring out that they're not very good. Do you know what I mean? So like I started off last year, was playing video games and made a YouTube channel about it and kind of got semi-popular and whatnot. And it's like, it's missing something. It's like missing Krishna. And the same thing, like we were just looking at these, I got these vintage Pokemon cards there's some flavour there.
Gotta catch 'em all, it's you and me. You know it's my destiny. Sorry.
But me and you just spent 10 minutes looking at Pokemon cards, right?
Yeah, you should make a full day.
It's not very enlivening, is it? Like, there's something missing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it's interesting, like, you know, because I always think of these things now, looking back in terms of rasa.
Yeah.
You know, and like there's an actual flavour to something, you know. So there's a certain rasa with, like, especially some of this nostalgic stuff that some of us are older might remember, like Pokemon and things like that. But if you really, you know, it's like that thing, if you really break it down, like, it doesn't really give you really what the soul wants, you know.
No.
And I think if I, you know, I don't know, but I was going back, you know, I think.
But you talk about rasa there, it's like that nostalgia. There's a premium on nostalgia. That's why these cards are worth so much now. People will pay to feel that nostalgia.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been kind of experiencing through playing, like, games I used to play, and it's like almost puts you in the mindset of when you were a child. And when you're a child, life is a lot more simple. Like, your mind isn't making everything complicated, if you know what I mean. Like, and for me, a little bit of, like, exploring that. You said it earlier, inner child stuff. I know it's like kind of psychology wording, but, like, what I'm saying is, like, there's a part of me that was kind of innocent, and then using that innocent person in Krishna consciousness is quite nice. Like, so we just went to Swindon on Harinam. I was born in Swindon, and
you know, it comes from Swine Town.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, where you used to buy pigs and things.
I know it's a Roman name. But yeah, I was in Swindon and we was walking down High Street. I remember going to this High Street when I was like 5. Like, I can remember it. And Avamshi asked me to, like, sing the Hare Krishna, Harinam, like. And I was singing it, but I was like, I put myself in that, like, child state of, like, it sounds weird. It's probably just my own mind speculation, but it was like, I wasn't chanting, like, I was chanting in that from that more vulnerable place. And it just seemed to come out purer in some sense. You know what I mean? Am I talking nonsense or? No,
I don't know. I'm thinking about what you're saying.
But it was quite a powerful experience to go back to where I was born when I was a kid.
I think there's an element of, because, you know, we have this book, it's called The Science of Self-Realization, and to really become self-realized, you know, and that means realizing the self, so you have to understand who you are. And I think that's why you have these ashram elements. You do have some people, because ashram means shelter. So it's whatever situation you can practice spiritual life the best, you know. And then for those who can do it, if they stay, for example, a monk life, then, okay, that keeps things simple. But it's better to be, you know, if you're not properly situated, then it's not the best place to be, you know. And as you're a beginner in spiritual life, we might see, like, wow, there's a sannyasi, a swami, or this person's very renounced. And we might think automatically that, you know, that means they're very spiritually advanced, and they may be. But if you read, you know, if you see from Lord Chaitanya's associates, most of Lord Chaitanya's associates were grihastas, which means, like, householders with families.
Yeah.
So you can have someone who might seem like they're working a job, you know, and they have a family and kids, but they could be much more spiritually advanced than a renounced monk who's traveling around preaching.
Yeah.
You know, it's an internal thing, and it takes a type of spiritual maturity to try and see that. So I want to read this purport, not only a bit of it maybe, from Srila Prabhupada's books, and then I want to see what you think, right?
Yes.
You probably know this. This is when, you know, Gajendra the elephant fighting the crocodile.
Remember to surrender like Gajendra.
That's a good one. Is that one of your raps?
It was, remember we did a marathon poster one year?
Oh, yeah.
And it said, remember to surrender.
Okay. So I'll just read the purport and then we can break this down. I won't go on too long. So in the fighting between the elephant and the crocodile, the difference was that although the elephant was extremely powerful, he was in a foreign place in the water. During 1,000 years of fighting, he could not get any food, and under the circumstances, his bodily strength diminished. And because his bodily strength diminished, his mind also became weak, and his senses less powerful. The crocodile, however, being an animal of the water, had no difficulties. He was getting food and was therefore getting mental strength and sensual encouragement. Thus, while the elephant became reduced in strength, the crocodile became more and more powerful. Now, from this, we may take the lesson that in our fight with Maya, or the material energy, we should not be in a position in which our strength, enthusiasm, and senses will be unable to fight vigorously. Our Krishna consciousness movement has actually declared war against the illusory energy in which all the living entities are rotting in a false understanding of civilization. The soldiers in this Krishna consciousness movement must always possess physical strength, enthusiasm, and sensual power. To keep themselves fit, they must therefore place themselves in a normal condition of life. What constitutes a normal condition will not be the same for everyone. And therefore, there are divisions of Varnashram: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So these are the different, like being monk life, married life, renounced life, etc. Especially in this age of Kali Yuga, it is advised that no one takes sannyas. And there's a quote from the Bramachari, but I'll carry on reading Prabhupada's English purport. From this, we can understand that in this age, the sannyas ashram is forbidden because people are not strong. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us an example in taking sannyas at the age of 24 years, but even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya advised Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be extremely careful because he has taken sannyas at an early age. For preaching, we give young boys sannyas, but actually it is being experienced that they are not fit for sannyas. There is no harm, however, if one thinks that he is unfit for sannyas. Because Prabhupada has all these young boys in order to spread the Krishna consciousness movement quickly, because Prabhupada could see that he only had so much time. He was 70 when he came over to the West. He gave the renounced order of life to these young boys who, and then he was saying that they weren't ready for it. If he is very much agitated sexually, he should go to the ashram where sex is allowed, namely the Grihastha ashram. That one has been found to be very weak in one place does not mean that he should stop fighting the crocodile of Maya. One should take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, as we shall see Gajendra do. And at the same time, one can be a Grihastha if he is satisfied with sexual indulgence. There is no need to give up the fight. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore recommended, Stanis citata srutu gatam tanu van manobihi. One may stay in whichever ashram is suitable for him. It is not essential that one take sannyas. If one is sexually agitated, he can enter the Grihastha ashram, but one must continue fighting. For one who is not in a transcendental position, to take sannyas artificially is not a very great credit. If sannyas is not suitable, one may enter the Grihastha ashram and fight with Maya with great strength, but one should not give up fighting and go away. So this idea of what's normal for one person is not normal for the other. Prabhupada said one should get into a normal condition of life. And I think, so the way that the Varnashram system is set up, if one can do a certain training in the Bramachari ashram, that does everyone well. And then at a certain age, if, the student would either decide to carry on in the Bramachari ashram or decide to get married. And then, when in the Grihastha ashram, in married life, Prabhupada said there's a certain license for sense gratification, but that license comes with a price. There's a certain responsibility that goes along with it. So I see sometimes devotees will leave the ashram and they enter household life and, they have to, start working and might have a family and they have different responsibilities and, but I think that can be, as Prabhupada's saying, that you can, wherever you feel strongest to go on with spiritual life.
I feel like for me it's like boot camp, like training, ready for war. Because the day I joined the ashram to the day I left, it's like I found myself in exactly the same position, but just with training. So when I joined, I was on universal credit and kind of dealing with certain aspects of my condition. Mm-hmm. I had certain attachments, desires, whatnot. And when I left, it's like universal credit, dealing with the same aspects of my condition. It's like we have a battle that we have to fight. There's a crocodile battle going on. It's but because I was kind of naive when I was in the ashram, because I thought, I've overcome all of that stuff. I'm a spirit soul, I'm a eternal servant of Krishna. I don't have, all that stuff is in the past. Mm-hmm. But then when I moved out, I was like, it's all still here. It was just paused. It's I paused my material life. Yeah,
but I think, But I can see, those who, when I was in the Bramachari ashram for maybe 10 years. and then I go out and make the decision and I get married. But I really, looking back, I really see like, okay, that was a step forward in my spiritual life.
Yeah.
And I think that can be, you want to keep moving forward. And I think I don't want to call him out. Maybe I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but maybe but you might be a bit embarrassed. But I always, like, a good example, I think, is like a Chutatma Prabhu. So a Chutatma, he was, he did the time where he did, he was doing full-time service, and he was like really, he'd go hard, the amount of service he did was amazing. But, the way he is, he's, that's like, obviously he's well situated as a family man, who has a business and as a grihasta. Like he wouldn't be in a normal situation of life if you forced him. It would be putting a round peg into a square hole, forced him to be in the Bramachari ashram.
Yeah.
So where he is now is something that he's an amazing devotee. He's a good example, and he's where he should be. And I think, and we need examples in our community. I was speaking to one devotee the other day, how if someone wants to come to spiritual life, not everyone's going to become a Bramachari. They're going to the Bramachari ashram and think, well, I can't do that. We need to show examples like, look, whatever state of life you're in, you can be spiritually advanced. They might go, well, I can't be a Bramachari, so you don't have to. You can be you can be like Bhakta-rupa. You can be like, a true Tattva. So I think, there's a responsibility of the greater community to show, okay, yeah, this is, and we're quite young community in ISKCON Wales. We're growing in one sense, like, you and some of the other, myself, we're like the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see how this works, In one sense, the, Bramachari ashram isn't here, we know what we're doing there.
But I love it, actually. Like, without that time in the ashram, it's like giving a whole purpose to everything.
Yeah. Like, it's if you can do it, spending some time in the Bramachari ashram should definitely be done, because it's...
Like, if you look at Achu, he is obviously like a natural business-minded. Like, he's very passionate, very, like, together in that way. And it's like he would have done a business whether he was joining a temple or not. Like, he was going in that trajectory. But, like, because he's got the Krishna consciousness, it all means something.
Yeah, it's one of the zeros.
Yeah, and it's the same as me. That's what, when I say it, it's like my nature's reawoken again. It's like, oh, I'm in the same position, but now I've got Krishna. Like, I wouldn't have had Krishna. Like, now I've got a reason to actually deal with myself and move forward.
Yeah, and I think that's why I think you might find you're in a more healthy position than... Because it's good, everyone should try being in the Bramachari ashram. But if you're not meant to be there, if you're repressing stuff, then you have brahmacharis that start to become a little bit weird, you know what I mean?
Or angry.
These things come out, So you have to deal with yourself, weird. Which is hard to do. But you can't just repress these things. It's better to, that's why I say self-realization, to understand ourselves and move forward, and not try and artificially be some sort of like perfect monk. Because we might think what spiritually advanced is, but what it actually is something different. That's why earlier I was making that point, that not everyone, some people might see, you have many travelling renounced monks and they're amazing, but a lot of them maybe have not done what Tarakanath has done, in terms of, and so surrender to Krishna is a matter of the heart. And those who are actually advanced, they don't flaunt it, they don't, sometimes you never know who's advanced and who's not.
Sometimes you see red flags as well, isn't it? Like someone from another community maybe will mesmerize a younger devotee that's just been around for like 6 months, and wow, this person's a pure devotee. Because you've been around for a while, you can see a couple of like, I think there's something going on there. Like,
I think the more mature you get in spiritual life, the more it says, like, a naive devotee will naturally think they'll see some of the qualities that manifest from. So if someone's very renounced, or if they're very learned, then that can impress people and they think they're advanced. But someone who's a bit more mature, they look for someone maybe renounced or learned, or have these wonderful characteristics, but actually the main characteristic is surrender to Krishna. Because someone may be very learned in the Shastras and be an amazing kirtaniya, but they're not surrendered to Krishna. You might have someone who's very surrendered to Krishna, but they don't know any verses of the Bhagavad Gita, and they don't, So it's like...
what does that look like? Surrendered? Like, it's hard to put your hands on.
So that's the thing. You don't know a pure devotee unless you're a pure devotee.
Yeah.
That's why you should offer respect to everyone. And you appreciate, you should appreciate everyone, but this, type of surrender to Krishna, in the ultimate issue, like, if you don't have it, it's hard to see it.
Because it's like, for me, it's like I want to be, because we talk about surrender to Krishna, like I want to have that surrender, but it's like Gajendra, he's fighting the crocodile of Maya, and it's sometimes like I feel like that I'm fighting with Maya, I'm fighting with the material energy, and like I get so distracted by the battle that I'm not even corrected. I'm not surrendering to Krishna. I'm just getting bewildered by.
So that's why Gajendra is a good example, because the battle in itself, Gajendra realized, okay, I'm losing this battle. I can't carry on fighting. So then, by the mercy of Krishna, he remembered a prayer from his last life, picked up a lotus flower, and just said, okay, I can't fight anymore. I'm going to give up. And he offered a flower to Krishna. So that's why the material energy, in one sense, is engineered in order to help us surrender to Krishna. So if you feel like you're just fighting and you're losing the battle, then follow in the Gajendra's footsteps and just, remember some prayers or whatever, comes to mind, and just pray to Krishna, please help me, I need your help. And Krishna will help you.
That's what I find, like being in a Sunday, like a Tarkanath Kirtan, that's your flower moment of the week. Like you've been battered by a material energy like anything. But like in those moments where you're in the strength and association of devotees, you can offer a flower to Krishna. Like you can like say, I'm sick of this, I'm suffering, like can you help me out? Like, week to week you can offer a flower in that way. Like for me, that without a Sunday program, I am pretty messed up. Like
I think we all need, we all have to rely on each other.
Like last week in the manor, the Tarkanath to the Kirtan, it's like these Kirtans are so crucial. And that's
coming together and chanting Hare Krishna together. I mean, it's the Sankirtan movement. Yeah. That's the way, Harinam, Harinam, Harinam Eva Kevalam. Lord Chaitanya says there's no other way apart from chanting the holy name of the Lord. Brahm Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So that's chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the method of spiritual advancement in this age. To get love, spiritual love again for Krishna, we have to chant. And coming together and chanting the Maha Mantra together, it's got to be done. Prabhupada said, if you think you can make spiritual advancement outside the association of other people who are practicing and chanting Hare Krishna, you are mad. Yeah. We need each other. That's something at first we might think, I'm practicing my spiritual life and then these people are doing that. But actually then you realize, no, we need each other. We go back home, back to Godhead together or not at all type thing, all for one for all. We got to do it together.
Really interesting, isn't it? For me, it's just that it is, because Krishna is everywhere, isn't he? It's like when you're in the ashram or maybe very close to the fire of like the movement, ISKCON movement, you're just like looking at Krishna in like a plain way, but like now I've stepped back, it's like you can see how he is a kind of all pervasive. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's like he's
and it's to do those. So then realizing Krishna is everywhere is like in the Bhagavad Gita is called the art of work, and which means art as in like the skill of doing something, but it also means like an art in terms of like a magic trick almost. If you can do that trick of trying to, it's like, you have Yudhishthira Maharaj, who's emperor of the world, had like, I don't know, like palaces full of gold, or you could be a Sudama Vipra who's like a poor beggar, but you can, there's no, so you can have any job, you can do anything and be close to Krishna.
Was it Nityananda's spiritual master who was, the one who was Hanuman, and he has like a big mansion and loads of jewels?
There's Gadadhar Pandit's spiritual master, Punjanik Vidyanidhi. Yeah, he was he was like they were feeding him grapes or something, like he was really, it looked really decadent, I don't know what he was, it looked like an enjoyer. I'm not sure what he was doing, but they were like, okay, so then they devotees walked away thinking, no, he's just an enjoyer. And then one of the devotees said, no, look, you might look, and then they quoted this verse, Ho Bhakiyam Stalakalakutam Jakakasyapiya Sadvi. That, how merciful is Krishna, that even though Putana approached Krishna to kill him, Krishna took, liberated her out of his compassion. And this Bhagavatam verse was like an udipan or an inspiration of love. And then, Punjanik Vidyanidhi just goes, whoa, and he kicks over something, and he just starts dancing like a wild man out of love. And then Radha Pandit realized, okay, this person's actually spiritually advanced.
Yeah.
Like, so you can't. That's a good example.
And that's what I'm saying is like when I was in the ashram, it was like, okay, anything that isn't like grossly Krishna consciousness, that's just Maya, But then you zoom out a bit and you're like, oh, okay, this is more of a grey area thing. Like it's all Krishna really, and it's based on how are people interacting with it, and are you trying to exploit this material energy, or are you using it for Krishna's service?
Yeah, that's where there's subtle thing, because you can be a monk in the ashram, and exploit Krishna's energy for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you can be outside, work,
on a private yacht.
Yeah, or like working in
Fingers crossed.
Post office or something, and be the most spiritually advanced person on the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a devotee in Florida. He hangs out with Indrajit Nawaraj.
I know him, yeah.
He's really cool. But he works in like basically the American version of B&Q.
Uh-huh.
And he's like a super advanced devotee. He hangs out with all of the top sannyasis, and he's like a pujari, and he worships all his shilas and everything. And he works in B&Q. And he's worked there for 26 years. And he's like employee of the month every month. His name's Chaturatma.
Uh-huh.
But he's like...
Shout out to Chaturatma.
Prabhu, like... I always look at him, and there's pictures of him on his Instagram. It's called... I forgot the name of the company. Lowe's, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a hardware store, and he's just there blissful. Like he's just blissed out, doing a job, doing the needful, And it's like that's inspirational. Then it's like we just have to do something, do some duty in this world, and focus on Krishna consciousness.
Focus on Krishna. If you look at even in like when you go to the spiritual world, there's there's people who like Krishna looks after cows, and there's different responsibilities, and but then it's just all just like a stage. That you just play your part, but
Yes, it is cool. It is an art, isn't it? It's beautiful. Beautiful art of Krishna consciousness.
Okay.
Lovely. Well,
so anyway, well done to congratulations to Joel. I think he's gonna,
It's the time of your life, isn't it?
Yeah, you're the best time of your life. Krishna will look after you, and then whatever he wants to do. That's the thing. Whatever lifestyle choice they choose, we're always there to support them.
Yeah.
To them. So it doesn't matter. If you want to stay Bramachari, we'll help you do that. If you want to eventually go to another stage of life, I'll help you do that also. But we need to, and we're quite. I'll end on this maybe because we're quite young in Wales, and I think one devotee always used to say, he said, what this movement needs is, he said something, it needs grandmothers. Because some things you can only tell your grandmother. And I think now we're starting to be in a situation where we've got to grow this, as we're growing in the community, and we need to be able to offer all this kind of support that people need.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Bhakta-rupa.
Thanks, Gopala.
Bless you, your podcast. Hare Krishna.
God bless.
God bless you all.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta